So I apologize for us being a little late on the minor league side of things. We were finishing up the Woodward Tigers podcast as the Tigers swept, and we wanted to talk about that a little bit because they have an important road series coming up. And I say that because based off if you believe momentum as a thing, as a tangible thing, Tigers are heading to Tampa, playing one of the best teams in the American League, and then they have to go to Cleveland, and they have Minnesota, who's in first place. But the AL Central as a whole is just a giant crap show anyway. But either way, that's what they have to contend with. But anyway, thank you for sticking around. We have a couple people already who've been around here on our YouTube channel. Welcome to Tiger Minor League Report recap for Week 6. I'm Rogelio alongside Ms. Chris Brown and intern David. Right before the broadcast, David was pretty excited about Reese Olson's outing, which we'll get to a little later. The Lakeland Flying Tigers are on TV, and they were almost a clean sweep today, among other things, and some headlines. And Carrie Carpenter continues to break down in Erie. But gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing pretty good. I'm happy that Daz Cameron had a heck of a game today, and so overall happy with my minor league performance today.
Yeah. Just one of the big bummers that this was the second week we've gotten Lakeland on TV, and of course Christian Santana went down with an injury, so we didn't get to see him at all. And their entire offense kind of took the week off. There was very little. Like I really wanted to, oh man, I'm going to clip a bunch of stuff, and there just wasn't much to clip, which is, that's just how it goes. But it's still nice to see these guys out there. I saw some hard contact and some interesting plays. But
yeah, Christopher, good question, and we'll get to. There's a lot to get to around the minor leagues for the Tigers this evening. So again, you mentioned Lakeland too. I honestly thought it was going to be like a entire clip show of things, but I mean, Roberto Campos, right center field, made a nice catch, and I mean, he tilted all the way over, legs flew up and everything. And so we'll start in Toledo as the Mud Hens were on the road. A couple of things about Toledo that were important this week is Casey Myers is starting on Thursday and Matt Manning starting on Friday. And yes, we'll get to that. And there's a setback with Casey Myers, but let's talk about the offense a little bit in terms of what the bats look like there in Toledo, because that's important. Because David mentioned earlier, Daz Cameron and Cody Clemens on the 40-man roster, with Austin Meadows going down today on the IL, and also Victor Reyes, who now has a right quad issue instead of a left quad. They'll make their decision tomorrow on who they're going to send up. So that being said, the Mud Hens they're playing very well as a team, as a collective. But again, we've noticed that if we mention the team, people just kind of give us a weird look. But it is important to mention that why today was another reason why today is important is that Elvin Rodriguez pitched pretty well. 5 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. And the guy that we've kind of had some jokes with, Derek Law is.
Fun fact about Derek Law. I don't know if you guys catch MLB's top 10 right now shows that the network does.
Mm-hmm.
This is a while ago, a few years ago. They had a fan vote for the best relievers in baseball, and Derek Law was actually the representative for the fans in that list. It was in 2015 or something like that.
Really?
He was in the top 6 or 10 for him.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, we got our guy.
Yeah, apparently he hasn't laid down the law yet down there. But I'm sorry, I'm just keep having fun with the name. But what was fun about today was Daz Cameron and Cody Clemens both had doubles. Daz Cameron had a home run, and also Dustin Garneau. He had a pretty good week down in Toledo, Chris.
Yeah, he had 3 homers and 2 doubles, or 2 doubles and 3 doubles and 2 homers. He's some guys go back down to the minors and don't take it very seriously. I'm thinking of Jacoby Jones, but Dustin Garneau is he went down and he's making the most out of being able to play a bunch and really showing the power that I think was the main reason that not the main reason, but he's a catcher who can also hit for power. That was why AJ Hinch liked him and kept 3 catchers for a while. And he just kind of got squeezed out and had nothing to do with him, his performance. So that's good to see. And yeah, it was a good week for the Mud Hens. Generally, like if you're just talking about them, they went 5-1. At one point, they had won 8 straight games. They've won 9 of 10. It's a nice stretch for them. But yeah, it was probably most notable because of all the rehab that was going on down there, and Akil Badu's down there. He didn't play much. I think he had an illness of some sort.
Yeah, he was sick. Yeah.
And then Victor Reyes was down there tearing the cover off the ball, and of course he comes up, gets a nice hit, and then hurts his leg again. And Matt Manning looked like Matt Manning in his pitches, and Casey Mize looked not great. And there's a reason he's heading back to Lakeland. It seems to me probably in lieu of some sort of procedure. Hopefully nothing too serious, but I think we're going to find out probably in the next week or two.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's like I'm happy about Daz Cameron. Like Chris, I have a feeling that he took what we said on the podcast last week pretty personally. So he just goes off and increases batting average to 260 since the last time we talked, which I thought it was like 210 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 210, 214. So yeah, Ryan LaVarnway still getting it done. Happy to see. Daz Cameron's picking it up because he has like the athletic ability. Like you saw the swing in his home run late in the game. That's the one thing I respected was like he worked that at bat. I think it was like 8 pitches or something like that. Yeah, it was nice to see. It was nice to see him put a good at bat together, and it paid off for him at the end of the day.
Yeah, in terms of what Daz Cameron needs to do, we've talked about this. Where last time he was up, he kind of had a lot of short at bats. Kind of seemed like he was pressing a little bit, trying to make an impression. I mean, I thought he had a good spring. I thought he had a solid spring, and hopefully we'll see that back. Either him or Cody Clemens. Cody Clemens has an advantage though because he can play third and second and the outfield. He can play 3 different positions, which serves as a really good utility thing to have, especially with. I mean, if Candelario's struggling, you put Harold Castro out there. Castro's not going to be your long term or a guy you can put in third base for multiple games. In case of point today, when he made a play and throw over the first was somebody messaged me like, "What was up with that throw at first?" I don't know. He made the play, so I don't, I got to dwell on the throw. But either way, the Tigers do have to make a decision, and we'll find out within 24 hours, well, probably less than that, 12 hours or so, what they're going to do with either it's going to be Daz Cameron or Cody Clemens. But as far as anything else going on with Toledo, did anybody, in terms of relievers, rather, did anybody stick out to you guys?
I had Law marked down. Who else did I have?
The Law.
Yeah, I had Law and Elvin Rodriguez, pitchers who were kind of noteworthy, and I think we touched on them. They was just they took down. I mean, we know how bad the Reds are, and Louisville might not be much better.
Yeah, I mean, we held Joey Votto hitless today. That's we better be proud of ourselves for that. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
Yeah.
That's just jokes, but yeah. Elvin Rodriguez, like I was really impressed by him today because like even watching him in Detroit for his debut, I was at that game and like you watched him pitch and it was pretty impressive. Like he was getting the curveball over, like he knew when to throw the fastball and not just in like earlier in the counts. And yeah, it's nice to see that he's like building off of his major league debut and putting together good outings.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get called into duty again here before too long. So it's nice to see him performing well for sure.
He'll be a good long guy in the pen.
Mm-hmm.
Law Dog, Jeremy in the YouTube chat.
McGrath.
Yeah, it definitely is. But so let's get down to Erie as Carrie Carpenter was sent back down in the beginning of the week, and he was like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm just going to go off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if he ever, because he was promoted to Toledo, but he never played in a game there. So I still wonder if he ever actually even left, if it was just like completely on paper promotion, for whatever reason. But, 3 home runs? He had a grand slam, right? Yeah, he's provided.
Back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say, if anything for Erie, I'm gonna say my farmer of the day today it's got to be Andre Lipsius. It's like he hit kind of a skid to start the year, but going 3 for 4, that's like, I know there's a lot of 2-hit games looking at the box score, but yeah, it's like seeing Andre Lipsius starting to put together some hits. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they were led by the veterans this week with Carpenter and Quincy Deporte. But Daniel Cabrera woke up for the first time this year, got his first home run. It was nice to see that. But the bummer is the 3 guys we care about there the most, really, from a prospect perspective, not so much. I think. What did I have? So I've got it down here. Let's see. Workman was 3 for 20 with 10 strikeouts. Meadows was 4 for 24 with 8 strikeouts, and Dingler was 2 for 21 with 9 strikeouts. So those guys just seem streaky as heck. And
well, that's
waiting. I keep waiting for Meadows to try to find that. He looked so good for the first 9 games of the year, and it just kind of has disappeared since then. And it's really kind of disheartening because it seemed like he had made a real legitimate change. I'm not closing the book on him all.
Sorry, I put the wrong. Yeah, I got to edit that out better.
But so that's rough. But they're still playing pretty well. I think. What did they go 4-2 this week? 2-4 this week against Akron, the Rubber Ducks. But in a lot of it, their pitching has been great. And I don't know if David wants to get into that a little bit.
Can we get a round of applause for Reese Olson, who I feel is the AA farmer of the game today, along with Lipsius? He fantastic outing.
Yeah, I mean, perfect through 4, 5 innings, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts. Is that right? No walks.
Yeah, that's the line. It's especially after last week. It's I had to defend him a little bit last week, but it's really showed what he's got today, and I feel like if he can continue this going forward, that he's gonna be a hell of a pitcher.
Yeah, and they also saw it's just a solid staff down there. Austin Berner perfect through 5 innings in a game. He actually completed 6, which I don't think any other minor league pitcher in the Tiger system has done that this year. At least not any of maybe an older veteran has done it, but not that I recall. And Adam Wolf was pitching well. It's just it's a nice pitching staff down there. So it's outside of Olson, I'm not sure about the total future, major league future for most of these guys, but they're getting the job done, and that's pretty fun to see. And Erie, it's been so long since Erie had a very competitive playoff caliber team. I think they're in 3rd place right now. They've got a chance this year.
Yeah, one.
One.
I was gonna say one game over 500. Last week they were under 500, right? I want to say, if
they may have been early in the week. Yeah.
Yeah, so really coming up big right now. And Raj, I know you talked about it last week a little bit. Were you happy that Gerson Moreno got 1 hole out today?
Again, I'm really kind of curious how they are using him. You look at some of the other guys using, Ladwig's officially out of the bullpen now. He's not a starter anymore, and so I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe he might be nursing an injury. I don't know, but there is one thing. There's Austin Berner had a pretty good outing despite the loss. They lost 5-4, I think it was on Thursday, and his final line was 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, a lot of homers. So, but again, I'm looking for. Hopefully, we'll be able to see him this weekend. I'm pretty sure he might be missing a start, but
well, let's see. He pitched Thursday, so he will probably pitch Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe they'll get 4 rainouts. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, Garrett Hill keeps doing what he's doing. It's just if they get any kind of offense at all, they're usually got a good chance to win. Dane Myers was back. He was up in Toledo briefly. He came back, hit a home run the other day, or was it today? He was today. They hit in game 1. They hit 3 home runs, I think, off of one of the Logan Allens.
Yeah, Neoporte, Myers, and Carpenter. They all went deep.
Yeah, so again, those are the kind of the veteran guys providing the pop while the prospects kind of have up and down seasons.
Yeah, especially on Workman's side of things. You were talking about that earlier. I mean, Workman, this series was just He had one good game, which was Wednesday. He had a pair of doubles. He went 2 for 4. He had a pair of doubles. But after that, he didn't. Looking at this now, he only had one hit the rest of the series. I was on May 15th. That was it. And so, go ahead, Chris.
No, he's just a guy. He just doesn't make enough contact. And it's a real bummer because he's a great athlete. We were listening to up in Lansing, one of the scouts up there was talking about, I think he went to Arizona State, like Workman did, and he was talking about, just the athletic bloodlines there. His dad played baseball. His mom was like a champion hurdler or something like that. Like a lot of tools there, but doesn't really matter. I mean, he's striking out at a 43% rate right now in AA. 43%.
Yeah, I mean, you want so hard to root for Gage Workman because it's like he was drafted alongside his fellow corner infielder Spencer Torkelson, and went deep in spring training. Just like I said, he was somebody you want to root for, and hopefully you can get it together. But through 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, that's a rough one to look at.
Yeah. You all right? What happened?
Sorry, there I was. Yeah, I have to get some water here at some point. But
Sorry.
That's okay. I was like trying to tell you, keep going.
Yeah, I was looking at a different tab, so I wasn't even looking at the screen. So because I was going to go back. I'm looking to see like the history of strikeout rates in AA. If any of these guys ever made it. Yeah, so there's not many over 35%. I don't see anybody who made the majors.
As far as Erie goes this week, they are back in town. They play the Fisher Cats, which is I still believe
New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire. Yeah, I think. Yeah, are they still in Toronto's AA? Yeah, I think so we get to see we get to see some really good, talented. Toronto's system's always talented. They got some good depth there. But is there anything else in Erie that stands out to you guys before we move on to West Michigan, which had a better week?
Did we talk about their other game in the doubleheader? The unfortunate L or
no, I did not talk about that. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, not very much to tell. I mean, Wolf had a decent start. You have to narrow down the walks a little bit, but 1 run over 4, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. It's a decent outing. Like I said, I'd like to cut down on the walks a little bit, but that was Gerson Moreno's 1-out outing, and 2-hit game for Navigado, but outside of that, nothing very major.
Yeah, we're gonna see this with Erie. I think there's gonna be some up and down, but if they were playoff contending, that keeps the butts in the seats, and that's all that matters. Oh, speaking of Erie, by the way, I just wanted to mention.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So okay, everybody, let's see this.
Hello, Daniel Hasty. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Daniel. All right, so what I have here. Thank you, Chris, for doing that. All right, so what I have here is thank you to Greg over at the Erie Seawolves there, who sent me a package. And what we're going to do is we're going to give this away. Then I'm also going to give the blanket they had from last week. So pardon the crumpling sound, but yeah, this is the blanket. If you're watching us on YouTube, we have the blanket here. And then a Matt Manning bobblehead. So how do you get these things? Here's how you get them.
Money. Wait, no, sorry.
No, but no. Here's what you're gonna do. We're gonna share the pictures of them, and then you're gonna like. And our goal is to get to 10,000 followers by the end of the summer. So if you like, or if you haven't, of course, you should be liking our Twitter, of course. But let people know about it. And if we get to 10,000, we'll pick a random winner, and we'll give you a Matt Manning bobblehead, a cool Erie Seawolves winter blanket, or a coffee mug or water mug, depending on your choice of beverage. Keeps things cool. So, say what?
Just gin, straight gin.
Straight.
That's what makes a fun day at the ballpark, gentlemen.
Well, if you're a Sky Carp Start about Fay might have needed some straight gin this week as the West Michigan offense decided to just back-to-back days. Well, not back-to-back days, but it was a strange one game. The West Michigan decided to score the next after getting beat 14-3. West Michigan came back and won 13-3, but the West Michigan won the series 4-2, and we saw some pitching. And Chris, I'll let you take it away because I know you've been watching some Dylan Smith, and we got to see Wilmer Flores stuff.
Dylan Smith. Yeah, so Dylan Smith had two really good starts this week, with 10 innings and only one earned run. But he's kind of like the minor league Bo Brisky at this point, where he's not getting a ton of strikeouts. I think he had 4 strikeouts in 10 innings, but he's also just not giving up runs. It's like, all right, go ahead. It makes me wonder, like, it kind of takes me back to a long time ago when college pitchers would come into West Michigan back when they were low A, the John Connollys of the world, and just come in there and dominate because they were just too advanced. And it feels a little bit like that's what Smith is doing right now. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to play when he moves up eventually. But it's nice to see him go out there and work 2 5-inning outings. And with Flores, yeah, they bumped him up. I think it was his first 5-inning outing of the season, and kind of more of the same. 6 strikeouts. It's not like the insane. Well, seemed like he was striking out 2 batters an inning for the most part for the season. So that went down a little bit, but he's still super effective. And then it was the bummer was the third member of that pitching trio, Ty Madden, had I don't know, the worst outing of his professional career. Just got bombed up by not a terribly good offense. So I don't know if he was working on something or he's just struggling to locate or what was going on. But other than that, I mean, it was strong pitching, and their offense has remained pretty steady this year. Not always as productive as you would like, but they've got some good offensive performers down there who've been putting up numbers all year.
Yeah, I noticed that Jake Colton came back to West Michigan for the game today and just absolutely tore it up once again. 2 for 4. Not my pick for Farmer of the Day. I'm going with Dylan Smith. Fantastic outing. He was efficient. Right here. 42 strikes for 62 pitches. That's pretty efficient, and I respect it. It's like it's a callback to like, for instance, the Reed Detmer's no hitter. Not going to touch on that too much, but yeah, it's like you don't have to be throwing it past guys to have a good outing, and that's what Dylan Smith definitely showed today.
Another person that, speaking of offense, had a good week was Winsteal Perez, who had 3 multi-hit games. And I know that we've been personally, I've been kind of scared to talk about Winsteal Perez in some ways, Chris, because we've seen this before where you have a good month, and we've talked about this with Hasty before, where he's a streaky hitter. But to me, at least, in terms of, you look at his overall main numbers, his main numbers don't stand out. He's hitting 236 for the month. But this week helped him perked up a little bit. But I don't know. I feel, and there's some discussions in Discord about whether or not he's hitting differently or not. But I don't know, Chris. It seems like he's figured out something.
Yeah, man. I think he's just comfortable. It's age appropriate for the level, and he's definitely hitting for more power in general, both over the fence and just gap power. And he's looked pretty steady on defense, at least on the right side of the infield. I don't think he really should be spending much time on the left side of the infield. He has been, but I prefer him at second base. He made a couple of really nice plays at second base this week, including one that was like a fun little glove scoop and threw it with the glove. It's you do feel like there might be a little bit of like a Parker Meadows thing here where, I don't know, it seems like he's ready for a challenge at the next level, but who knows? Yeah, it's nice. He's been just a steady performer all year for the most part. And, Colt Keith actually cooled off the last couple of days of the week. I think he may have had today off.
Yeah, he's had.
But I think I want to say he still led the team in OPS this week because he's been on one for about 3 weeks now. And Ben Malgeri, shout out to Trevor Huth, one of his kind of personal cheese balls. He's been really, really playing well of late. And, so yeah, the offense was working, and the Sky Carp I don't think are a terribly good team. I think they have about 10 wins this year, but
they're 10 and 23.
like we said with the Tigers and the Orioles in the Big League podcast, you take wins whenever you can get them. And this is the Whitecaps. I think their first series win since the first full week of the season.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. And one of the things here's who I think should be considered among the players of the week across the system. That's Chris Myers, who's also absolutely crushing the ball on this level. And he had, to me, something I've noticed is opposite field power, Chris. It keeps coming through on doubles and the home runs. He's batting 320, 404, and 540 for the month of May. And yesterday, in Saturday's game, he absolutely, it was a he had was it Friday? I can't remember. A home run. I thought he had it was early. It was his first game of this. Maybe, no, I'm drawing a blank. Never mind.
No,
anyway.
You're right. He does seem to be hitting the ball to the opposite field a lot and showing power. He had 2 opposite field doubles on Saturday night. And it was kind of wild. He was I believe, a college senior when they drafted him. Maybe he was a junior. Yeah, I think he was a senior. Maybe it was like a COVID senior or whatever. But can you expect a college hitter to perform like this? At least you kind of hope in low A or in high A. But he had a really rough pro debut last year. I'm looking at his Lakeland stats. He had 205 in Lakeland last year, 645 OPS. And he's up to 958 this year. So it's nice to see. I don't know if there's anything there like with Double A and beyond, but he certainly has been a huge boon to the offense down there in West Michigan for sure.
Oh yeah, and like you guys mentioned, like you see him being able to hit to the opposite field so much better. And it's like that's the one thing they teach you in school, the one thing they teach you, the coaching will teach you in spring training is being able to hit the ball to the other field, which like it's a lot harder than most of your average baseball fans think, because like we even talked about it last week how that homer he hit it like right on the screws of the bat and he hit it out. It's like that's amazing to see, because like I mentioned in spring training, it's like when the younger kids are in camp trying to show what they can do, it's like coaches will be more impressed with a line drive opposite field single than a pull home run. It's like when you're able to pull your hands in and really be able to adjust your swing to a pitch, that's like that's pretty impressive. And I think Chris Myers is doing a good job with that.
Absolutely. And one of the things that you talk about, the pull the hands, and it's just like almost like a squeal of excitement when that happens, especially if you do it yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that was one of the things that we've kind of been most impressed with Colt Keith, is that he'll hit hard line drives in any direction because he's confident enough to wait for a pitch and got the bat speed to kind of fight it off. And so, yeah, that's definitely a good sign. And I don't know, keep an eye on Chris Myers for the rest of the year and see what happens. I thought Jake Colton's return to West Michigan was kind of quick, but I guess it was not necessarily a move. He wasn't promoted, I don't know, based on prospect status within the organization. I guess they just kind of had a need, and so when they no longer had the need, it was back to West Michigan for him.
Filled out the roster spot.
Yeah, and again, it's for West Michigan, who in terms of wins and losses has struggled a little bit. This was a good series win for them, as they are, I believe they're on the road next. Yeah, because it usually goes home away. And they are, I'm drawing a blank on where they're going next, but
they are headed to Fort Wayne.
Okay.
Tin Caps.
That's a nice looking facility. I got to check that out sometime. So in terms of where we go to Lakeland was on TV this week, and we mentioned that a little earlier, and they went 1-5. They won the opener 8-4. And after that, it was just been, as Chris would go into a little bit about the lack of offense. And there was a couple of close Wednesday and Thursday were 1-run losses, but I don't know, and Sunday too, but I don't know.
Today they had blew a late lead.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
With Lakeland, I just want to say that was a pretty tough pill to swallow. I mean, looked like a pretty good game. It's like you watch that 10th inning for Port St. Lucie. It's like I told you earlier today. It's like that's only a 3-pitch at bat the first inning to really blow it for Lakeland, which sucked. But yeah, really quick before we move on, there's one stat I want to touch on with Chris Myers that I think is very impressive that I just found here is he's batting almost 330 on batting for his batting average on balls in play, which I want to say is just astounding because this calls back to the being able to hit the opposite field as well. Like if you can keep the swing plane flat and being able to hit line drives with authority to all fields, then that's what's going to happen. You're not going to be getting under pitches, and you're not going to be hitting into cheap outs, and that's an amazing thing to see, especially like you mentioned, just for him struggling last year and being able to put up numbers like this year. That's noticeable.
Yeah, no, and you could call there because one of the things that the Tigers would hopefully we'd like to see is get Detroit get some luck on some of the late round draft picks because in terms of a provisional standpoint, not just from a pitching standpoint. So, yeah, and Michael Meyer in YouTube said that Isaac Pacheco had a good weekend. Yes, we are going to kick that off. Well, I've heard you, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Pacheco was probably their best offensive player down in Lakeland this week. But he hit like 330 with a homer. Let me look at the stats right now. Yeah, double and a homer, 3 walks, 6 for 19. Yeah, he's developed pretty nicely this year as a hitter. A lot of it, I was worried about him striking out too much, kind of striking out at like a workman like level, and he's kept it mostly in check. And he's got a decent walk rate. And his one home run, again, we're talking about opposite field. His home run was to the opposite field. He just kind of powered it out down the left field line, and that's legit power, right? And so that's nice to see. And we mentioned before that Christian Santana was hurt, so we didn't get to see him at all this week, which is a bummer. But I'm kind of curious about Manuel Sequeira because he was the guy who really kind of came from nowhere last year and hit, I want to say 11 home runs or whatever. And was like, hey, what's all this about? And then he had we saw him a little bit in the minor league kind of spring training, hit a home run off of Jackson Jobe, and but he's another guy who the big issue with him was strikeouts, but he had a strong week, and he is really, and this could just be a completely fluky thing. So yeah, he was 8 for 22 this week with 3 doubles, only 3 strikeouts and 1 walk. He struck out 21 times in 16 games in April, and he has got 7 strikeouts in 11 games in May. So either he's changed his approach or it's just a random, thing, but he seems to maybe have adjusted to the level of pitching there. And he's another guy who's got the raw power, and I think he has some innate feel for contact. So if he can cut down on the strikeouts, then there might be something more there than we thought. I kind of viewed him as a fringe top 30 prospect just because of the strikeouts. And with all these young infielders, it's always tough to project them to stick at shortstop. Like I don't think Pacheco is a shortstop. I don't think Santana is a shortstop. I think Sequeira has the best chance of those 3, but I'm guessing he's not a shortstop either. So, but he had a good week, and that's fun to see.
Another, I know he's been playing a lot of the infield too, but it's another Carlos Mendoza. I mean, he's off to a little slower start, but still, he was playing a little bit. He played left field today. He had a 2-hit game on Thursday, so that he's still. I don't know. Like I can't wait to see this guy in person. But when you show one of his clips, Chris, it cracked me up because he's my height, but it's just like he looks like a little kid out there. He really does. He's 22 years old. He's a man, but he is fast on the first base line.
Yeah, it like he seems like a guy like you don't see him on prospect list, but he's endlessly fascinating to me because he puts the bat on the ball. He walks a ton. He doesn't have like a ton of power, but he can slap it around and cause some havoc on the bases. And yeah, he just seems like a guy who is going to be part of winning teams to me in the future. I don't know. I mean, Lakeland isn't particularly a winning team right now, but I wouldn't blame him for that. I think there's a lot of all or nothing hitters down there, and even beyond the guys we talked about, some of the previous prospects and other guys who didn't get quite as big bonuses in the international market. They're making up the bulk of that roster right now. But yeah, Carlos Mendoza looks like he's a really fun player to watch. So yeah, I think you're going to enjoy that.
Yeah, and I'm calling this stat back about Mendoza. He is currently hitting .431 on balls in play this year. So that is like That's a very impressive stat. Like, even though, yes, he's hitting 333 this year with Lakeland, but like for nearly hitting the ball in play and getting on base half the time, that's pretty interesting stat to look at.
Yeah, there's in terms of among the offensive stats that would stand out this week. I wanted to ask you guys about Roberto Campos, who played center field, did a pretty good job. Like we said, we got the defensive play up on our channel, but Campos hasn't, again, the whole power, that's part of his profile, but he had a 402 foot or 100 foot out. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, I think he had a 400 plus foot out or a 400 plus foot double. Yeah, we had somebody ask us last week, and we're going to try. I need to do the Monday mailbag for the minor league website. Somebody was like, "Hey, what's up? Why does he only have one home run?" So I went through and looked at all his batted ball data, and he hits the ball really hard. Like I saw one today where he hit a hard line drive, but it was right at the first baseman. It was just really bad luck. I think he had one hit this week. Just a rough week. And his issue is that he hits the ball on the ground way too much. His average exit velocity was like 90.7, 90.5 when I looked at it, which is like 70th percentile for major league hitters. It was like the same as Miguel Cabrera's this year. So, you want to compare yourself to 38 or 39-year-old Miguel Cabrera, but he still hits the ball pretty hard. And it was right along the lines of Yandy Diaz, who has always been known as a guy who hits the ball hard, but his launch angle is under 3 degrees, average launch angle, which is just, tons of ground balls and low line drives. And that's something that they can work on. Obviously, you want to help a guy build some loft in the swing. And right now, I think you want to focus more on making contact. But if he can't, get more loft out of the swing down the road, then yeah, it's going to be tough for him to carve out a role because you're just not going to, there's no slug on the ground, right? You're not going to hit for a ton of power if you're pounding it into the dirt every time. So, but I think, again, like the third youngest player in the league, I think you have to be encouraged by him hitting the ball so hard, even if it's not going for hits just yet.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Raj. Hitting 321 on balls in play this year. The thing is about hitting ground balls, it's like, I guess it's not really pro per se, but the only pro I'm going to take out is it's a very coachable thing to attempt to get over. Is like it could literally be as simple as just like if you're gripping the bat like this when you're holding it, it could literally just be as simple as doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if anything, just like starting your hands in a different spot when you're standing at the plate, which like you don't want to make a major adjustment like that, but like that could. You were talking about adjustments, especially with like Sequeira earlier. It's like literally it could just be the simplest thing like that, and you can start to see a little bit more of a fly ball rate. But yeah, it's like is it unfortunate to see a lot of ground ball outs and like a lot of low line drives? Yeah, but from my baseball experience, that could be easily fixed, I feel, and I think he can start to put it together later in the season.
So correct me if I'm wrong, David. When you have it, when you do the way you grabbed it there, that allows you not to topple on the ball so much, right? It allows you to get more loft. Do that simple adjustment.
Yeah, like
you have a bat right there, dude. You gotta show that bat. I mean,
that's why I'm backing up here. But yeah, it's like it's hard to say, but like you're holding the bat like this when you're coming through on the ball, like mid's path. Like, of course, the one time I don't have a ball here, but it's gonna hit the bat like here. Like if this is the middle,
yeah,
it's gonna hit the bat like right in the bottom. Because when you're coming through on it, the barrel of the bat's gonna be going up like that. And that could be it. Not going to say that's it, but yeah, it's like more, you hold the bat more with like your middle knuckles aligned like that. It's like the head of the bat's going to be a lot more flat like that. And that could give you a better chance to hit it on the top half of the barrel. So.
And I think we've seen, we haven't seen Victor Reyes a ton this year, but when we have seen him, he's altered his batting stance. And like you said, everywhere, basically where he holds the bat now, in an attempt to hit for more power, put more loft under the ball, and it seemed to be working. But again, we haven't seen a ton of him playing yet to make that, determination that it is going to last. But yeah, much like Jackson Job's mechanics, which some people criticized. When you're talking about teenagers and low A ball,
Calm down, Raj.
they're they are they're multiple years away from the big leagues, and you hope they get there. There's a long way, but there's also a ton of learning. There's a reason there are 4 full season minor leagues. Like, there's a lot to learn between now and the big leagues, and a lot of that is refining your mechanics. Like, you don't draft high school pitchers because they have impeccable command for the most part. That's just not what you're drafting high school pitchers for. You're drafting them for the ceiling, what their arm can do, and you try to teach the command part. Sometimes they're guys with really great command at a young age. We see like a Rick Porcello was really advanced in that regard.
He was drafted in high school too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Porcello
was in the big leagues like before he turned 21. Yeah. Like early as a 20-year-old, because he was that advanced with throwing strikes with all his pitches. They weren't bat missing pitches, but he was good enough to throw strikes. That's very, very rare. Most high school pitchers, you're banking on them improving their stuff and improving their command. Jackson Job's raw stuff is big league ready, basically. He just doesn't know how to harness it at all right now. And that's what he's going to have to learn over the next couple of years. And he had a good outing, 3 innings, 28 pitches, I think. Only 2 strikeouts, which people flip out about. But again, this whole year is going to be about learning for him. It's about learning how to locate his pitches, learning how to get his mechanics in order, learning how to read hitters, learning how to finish off hitters, all that stuff. He's a very I don't know the proper metaphor there, but he's a guy with this incredible arm and not a whole lot of knowledge or experience using it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess the right term to say about it is, like, at least my personal opinion with high school pitchers being drafted is that they're pretty much like wild Mustangs. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, but the one thing I like to say about high school players is that they're very moldable. It's like they're very coachable guys if they have the right mindset. It's like, because you don't have the throwing programs and all the different facets of baseball that they had young in college. It's like they can shape you around their organizational philosophy. And like the one thing I like to see better with Joe was like, this is something I wrote about him recently was like I'd like to see him use the breaking stuff a lot better for strikeouts. Like, I know he has the slider, but he also has the changeup and the curveball. Like, I know he's been getting that over a little bit. It seems like it's not really fooling guys. It's like, it seems like they're hitting the ball a little bit off the curveball and changeup in some of his starts. But yeah, the fastball and slider are definitely there, which is, I know that's what he got drafted for. But if he can start getting that curveball over, then.
Well, and to me, it looks like hitters recognize a lot of his breaking balls pretty quickly. Like, and I don't know if that's, popping out of his hand or different, they're tipping his pitches or stuff like that. But it's like, just remember, Tarek Skubal has changed his pitches in the last 2 years as a big leaguer. Like, he's been growing and adapting and getting better in the big leagues. So the guy in low A ball is not going to be nearly as close to a polished product as anybody thinks. But fans want to complain and they want to point to position players because that's what they wanted, and they're impatient. Nobody has the patience to wait.
This is going to be a pain in the ass. Excuse my French, but I'm starting to get annoyed here.
Yeah, that sounds about right, man.
I mean, as a collective about the whole Job thing in terms of how his development's going. I mean, I have no problem with the way it's going, and it's going to take him some time. There is some big league stuff there. It's just a matter of, like you said, Chris, harnessing it right. Who has been harnessing right lately? Segue into Jose De La Cruz, who had he had a bad start to April, bad just 211 heading into May, but he had a pretty good series too.
Yeah, homer and a double. He's been hitting for, I think he leads them in power this year. He's always been a big power guy, and I think the home run he hit was like a no doubter, like he'd do it immediately. And with the Tigers, Michael Meyer with the Tigers. Sorry, we got sidetracked by a question here.
Would the Tigers take Joe 1-1 if they had the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft? Unfortunately, I would have to say no.
No, I don't think so either.
No,
Jack Leiter's absolutely lighting up the board right now for Frisco, I think.
Yeah.
I won't say he's playing for Frisco, but yeah, he's doing pretty good for himself.
they would have gone. Yeah, I think they would have gone lighter.
Yeah.
And it's part of it is there's never been a high school pitcher, right-handed high school pitcher that went 1-1. There had never been a first baseman who went 1-1 either, and there still hasn't because Spencer Torkelson was drafted as a third baseman. So like, it would have been funny if they drafted Jackson Jobe 1-1 and just said, yeah, shortstop Jackson Jobe. Like, and then just, they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give him 2 at bats, and then we're going to switch him to the mound. But yeah, I don't think they would on that route. I think everything we heard, and we've heard since then, was that the Tigers weren't even like, everybody wanted them to take Marcelo Meyer, but he was not their second choice. Their second choice was Brady House, and so who's also been off to a great start. But nobody talks about Jordan Lawler, who was off to an amazing start, blowing all these guys away. He was the guy who was the number 1 shortstop prospect heading into the draft for much of the year, but he struck out a little bit too much in high school. People got worried, and now Arizona is loving it because he's crushing it. So, it was a great class for high school shortstops and high school infielders, and there were guys. Carson Williams, I think, went later. Jackson Merrill was a kid from like Baltimore that I really liked, that I wanted them to get in the supplemental round, and I think the Padres got him in like the 28th pick or something like that. Isaac Pacheco was off to a great start to his pro career. Like, I don't know, like why people are so obsessed with Marcelo Meyer is kind of beyond me, but I guess maybe he's just a pure Hall of Famer and everybody can see it right now. Yeah,
no. So. Raj, calling back to your take about Jose De La Cruz, I just did the math on it, and so far in the last week, he is I think it's like 8 for, I think the math was like 8 for 21, so that's certainly a good call on him. But yeah, it's like Chris, touching on what you said, it's like I think everybody wanted Lawler or Meyer because, like, it's rare to see prep shortstops with a little bit of pop, because usually you see guys like that when they're in high school and they're just kind of string beans that are really good on defense. But yeah, it's like when you start to see mechanics being put together in high school, and especially like Marcelo Meyer really put himself on the map. I think it was in spring training this year. Can't remember who the Red Sox were playing, but he put together, I think it was like a 13 pitch at bat. Like, he showed like elite plate discipline, and I think that's what made the fans a little bit more upset. But yeah, like, one thing you have to remember about the high school prospects is that, especially with Jobe, like, he is young. He's only made 5, like, what is it, 5 starts, 4 or 5 starts?
It's 10 innings, 10.1 innings, I think.
Yeah, 10 innings. He's young. He seems coachable. It's like, it's going to take time. And yeah, it's like watching video on the fastball and slider, it's like the spin rate is like elite. Like, I'm pretty sure that's like what got him on the board in the first place. It's like his spin rate was comparable with like major league numbers now. It's insane. Yeah, fastball's good. It's like, it's going to take time to harness it, Chris, like you said, getting the other 2 breaking pitches over. But yeah, it really, like, I know, like, I'm going to be guilty in saying that my face got a little red when I saw him go at number 3 overall. But after slowly catching on, like, honestly, I think we got a hell of a player here.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. Anybody can get hurt or get vertigo or whatever. So, but my main thing is, like, just give the kid time. This isn't, I don't know. It reminds me of like college football recruiting or something like that, where people learn about these guys before, like, 2 years before they're actually ready to even contribute, and they're like, "What's wrong? Why does he look so bad?" It's like, he was in high school a year ago. He was pitching against like kids who were worried about their bake shop homework. This is a big leap.
It's embarrassing to see that too, especially when people look at a box score versus video. If it's one thing, if you saw a video, make a conclusion, that's fine. But to go after box score, you're full of crap. I'm sorry, you're full of crap. And as far as the general, there was a lot of offensive, because I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I think last year they were mentioning that this draft class, the 2023 one, wasn't going to be as good as the 2022 one was not going to be as deep as the 2021 one, correct? Before
Part of it because 2020 draft was 5 rounds, that there were an abnormal number of kind of 4th-year players that were. Charlie has checked into the show. Like 4th-year players who were available in the draft, but this year's draft and next year's draft are they're all deeper than usual because more guys ended up in college than you would expect from the 5-round draft. Teams were just not taking many chances, so you see guys like Dylan Cruz or whatever make it to campus. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so the dog. I don't know what he's doing. Sounds like he's hammering something.
I was gonna say I didn't even recognize it. Usually it's a squeaky toy, but in this case, maybe he's building a doghouse for himself. But no, it's outside of that. In terms of pitching, that's what it was.
He's got a water bottle and he's just doing it like crazy. So sorry.
In terms of pitchers, the only one I wanted to mention was Garrett Berhen, who pitched in I think it was an opener, which he got the win for. Was there anybody else in terms of pitching before we got out of here that stood out outside of him?
Yeah, Brant Herter had a great game on Saturday night. 9 strikeouts.
That's right. Yeah,
he's a lefty. Was he either 6th rounder, 7th rounder last year out of Georgia?
I want to say, I took 6th rounder. I think.
He, I mean, he's a veteran, but he's got some really interesting. Like just looking at him right now, he's a big dude. I think there's some potential there to start, but I think he might make it as a lefty reliever. He's got a really good slider, decent fastball, and his changeup's fine too. But I think the slider is going to be the weapon for him. And I could see him carving out a role as a big league reliever down the line. It's just I'm kind of surprised he's not up in West Michigan, to be honest with you. But they had so many pitchers, and they wanted to get everybody innings. And at a certain point, you kind of just, you put him where you can. And he's a guy who was coming back from injury too. So, but I mean, he was outstanding. They couldn't do much against him. So he's a fun one to keep an eye on over the next year or two.
Yeah, especially because the Tigers, they signed a guy out of the Pirates system, minor league pitcher to Toledo. I think it's Sam Howard. Yeah. Sam Howard. Yeah. So they're gonna try to harness a way to do that. So it's good to see the Tigers pursuing lefties, because until last year, or even heading into this year, it seemed like a little lack of depth across the way. I think they only had 2 or 3 total.
Even now, it's like we're still struggling a little bit. It's like I think even Erie and lefty Erie and Toledo, between the two of them, I think they only have like 3 left-handed pitchers. I want to say.
Adam Wolf.
Wolf. Yeah.
Miguel Toposo, Adam Wolf, and maybe one other guy.
Well, it was JT Perez was a lefty, I think, right? Maybe not, but. Yeah, he gone. I mean, Herter, you can look at the stuff. It's a fastball that's up to like 94, 95. It sits at like 92, 93, which is fine for a lefty. And the slider, he got 10 swings on the slider on Saturday night, and 7 of them were whiffs. So, they weren't making contact, and a couple with his changeup too. So, I don't know. He's just, like I said, he's a guy that keep an eye on down the road. It wouldn't shock me maybe if at some point they have him swap with Jordan Marks, who was kind of doing tandem starts with was he doing tandems with Flores, I think? And
that's correct. Yeah, he was.
The last couple of times he's just kind of been working out of the bullpen, and I don't know if they want to keep developing him as a starter, but yeah. Anyway, so Herter, Berhen, interesting pitches, and Carlos Pena had another decent outing too. So he's another lefty, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's the other one that he was. I think he was there. It was left over from last year in that rotation, I believe, too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he's fairly young. 22, 23. But...
It kind of reminds me of Jose Quintana for some strange reason.
Well,
shorter
work
version.
out. Okay.
Yeah, I take that all day. Yeah. Maybe it's just in terms of appearance or the way he pitches, but. Was there anything else, gentlemen, before we get out of here for the evening that I'm missing? But I think we've covered it all. We covered a lot of ground this evening.
Not unless there were any other questions that we missed.
Michael mentioned too. Tortosa is a lefty.
Christian Tortosa, yeah. He's been around forever. It seems like, and I never seems like he does much anything. But yeah, he is. It's true. He is a lefty down there.
And the one thing I want to say.
Lachlan.
Oh, sorry, Chris. One thing I want to say, Toledo, you're saying high school lefties are pretty down the list of needs. Or high school righties, excuse me. At least in my opinion, if you guys have a change of thought, feel free. But like, you can never ever have enough pitching. That's just you can never ever have enough pitching, and like, because that's what I was saying. It's like between 15 and 19, didn't we take a pitcher every year, with the exception of Riley Green?
Yeah, it was Burrows, Manning, Fido, Mize. 4 straight.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to my baseball cohorts, and they were like, "Yeah, it's like, where's the offense?" And like, would I like to see take a hitter in the draft? Yeah, but like, what would have happened if, God forbid, but like, what would have happened if half those guys didn't work out? It's like that always happens. So, in my opinion, you can never ever have enough pitching.
Yeah, it is interesting because the Tigers have gone a little bit against the grain in that regard now, where a lot of teams seem to be focusing on, and the Tigers have done this as well, where teams are now finding pitchers everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. They're finding them in the United Shore, like Independent League. They're finding them in the 27th round of the draft. They're finding them. God, the Angels started Chase Silseth the other night. He was an 11th round pick last year. 11th rounder last year, and he's got to be the first player for the 2021 draft to reach the majors.
Yes, he is. He was. Yes,
he was an 11th rounder, and he pitched well. He's like a fastball up to like 98. It's like what? So teams are getting so good at finding pitching everywhere. I always compare it to like in football, where teams just find running backs wherever. They'll find them off the street. But if you want to, there's something to be said for zagging while other people are zigging. If the Tigers want to continue to spend high draft picks on arms they really like, more power to them. I don't know, because they don't have a great history of developing hitters anyway. So maybe just lean into what you're good at.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like I touched on with Woodward Tigers last week. But yeah, Tigers are really good at developing young starters. It's like, with the exception of Bo Burrows, but we'll leave that one in the past, unfortunately. Stick to your strengths. It's like Angels. What was the year they took a pitcher in every round of the draft? Was that last year or the year before?
Last year, yeah.
So, including
Adrian's own Mo Hanley, another lefty, a guy that I wanted the Tigers to go get. But I guess if the Angels are taking all the pitchers, what are you going to do?
My final thought. Don't give up on Jackson Jobe.
If anybody's giving up on Jackson Jobe right now, they should just they should give up on a lot of other things. Give up on watching sports.
Oh, fans gave up on him after we drafted him, Chris.
That's true.
I feel like. Yeah.
Well, but we'll see. But the odds are that it won't work out the way that the Tigers want or the fans want, because it's it's a long developmental process and things often go astray. But he very well could work out and be a very dominant pitcher down the road. So we just have to give him time. That's my main thought. And I was hoping you'd have more trivia for us, David, because that was fun. And what were we going to call it? We were going to call it Wood something.
Oh, wait.
The trivia segment? I wanted to do a trivia segment.
Oh, yeah. What was it we were going to call it? Wood? Was it?
Wood bites, or I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Trying to...
well, we can discuss this off the.
Yeah, we'll discuss it.
We figure it out.
Yeah. So, next week David, you should come and bring the trivia. That
was fun.
That's going to be part of the show. Yeah, that was. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, no, we'll make it part of the. Yeah, no, you did a really good job with it on the fly, and so more minor league trivia coming up. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks on YouTube, by the way. This was one of our highly viewed shows. We really appreciate it, and please subscribe to the Woodward Tigers one, because I can't. Unfortunately, well, that's not unfortunate. We have Woodward Tigers as a separate thing. So that being said, please subscribe to that and check in our live shows. We had one on Thursday in the studio, and it was fantastic. And it's really good energy. So please subscribe to the Woodward Tigers channel. Also go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Tigers Minor League Report. And a shout out to Emily Walden, who I saw and talked to on Friday for the Pick Out the Park breast cancer awareness. It was good to see her there. And it was, she was a good story. She got to throw out the first pitch. So
how's she doing?
She was doing good. That's good. So, but more like I said, weeks will be in Erie this weekend, starting on Friday. We'll be there Friday night through Sunday evening, and then we'll be heading back. But yeah, we got stuff to give away. We're gonna do more pictures about it tomorrow, and I appreciate all the comments in there. Toledo, Jeremy Anderson.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman earlier in there. Oh, Christopher, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. Yeah, no, in Toledo, we do occasionally go back, and I probably will do a piece this year looking back at the 2017 draft because it's been 5 years, and oddly enough, it's just now starting to work out for the Tigers a little bit with Fido and Will Vest. That's basically all they have left from the 2017 draft. But yeah, it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to go back and go, oh man, I remember I thought that guy was going to be a prospect, and then like he disappears at AA. So we'll I think we can handle some of that for sure.
Yeah, the Stephen Moya syndrome, we'll call it, or something. Everybody, I mean, I swear, it could be just me, but I felt like Stephen Moya was kind of jammed down our throat, like it's the next big thing.
Really fast, fun fact about Stephen Moya. I'm sorry, I'll keep it quick, but God, this had to be like circa 2014. MLB wrote an article comparing Aaron Judge and Stephen Moya.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if memory serves, yeah, it's like it was literally just
that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Both really tall, strong, power hitting outfielders, and yeah, it's like MLB did a piece talking about Aaron Judge and Stephen Moya and what one would be a greater impact on their major league clubs. So,
I mean, there's a reason,
but yeah, that's the reason why I call them prospects.
Yeah, like Stephen Moya absolutely had as much raw power as Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge didn't go first in the draft. Did he go like 28th? He may have gone in the second round because teams didn't know what the hell to do with him. What do you do with a 6'8" outfielder?
I want to say he went late first round.
Yeah, I feel like it was like 28th in the draft. But no, people at West Michigan still talk about a home run that Stephen Moya hit basically to the river. Like he just had enormous power. And like when you see something like that, you get excited, but then you have to look at the 35% strikeout rate. And then his defense just completely disappeared in the majors. Like he was a decent defender when he was younger, and it just turned into basically a DH. And in any event,
Aaron Judge went 32 overall in the compensatory round.
Yeah, out of Fresno, wasn't it?
Yeah. But,
so,
and yeah, I remember. I'm sorry. Just last thought is that giant year that Stephen Moya had at Erie, where he hit like 44 home runs. That was I think that's what put him on the map. But yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it was, and I just remember still going, okay. I mean, it's just
I mean, there were always a huge number of red flags there, but it was like that was the Tigers farm system back then. That was basically what they had, Stephen Moya, Dixon Machado,
a little bit of sizzle. That's it there. So at any rate, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a good week, everybody. We'll cap next week, or like I said, Friday we'll be there in Erie, and hopefully. Everybody that lives out that way will be able to see you. So until then, have a good week.
See ya.